Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing fine. I know I've been off for quite a while. Sorry about that. But I do have a video for you, probably about 17 minutes, I'm assuming, to get through it. But I wanted to cover something that I may have covered in the past. I'm not sure. I didn't go back through 100 plus videos to find out if I did. But I still think it's relevant whether I did or I didn't. So we're going to do it. Okay. Things are not so great in the country. I don't need to tell you that. Riots are definitely a problem. I believe they're going to be more of a problem as we approach the elections. I think that's real obvious. I think it's important that if things get bad and you have to leave your home and you have to travel on foot and you have to go through a city, that you have certain things in mind before you do that. Okay? They're very important. They're common sense, but they're still important. And you may or may not have thought of this before, so I'm just going to cover them. First of all, if you know that you've got to travel through a city, I think it's very important that you plan your route out in advance before that happens. If that's something that's on your mind and you have said, we're bugging out if things get bad, if you have to do it on foot, even if you don't, you should plan your route out first. That's number one. Try to avoid the more populated areas of the city, downtown, for an example. We've seen a lot of riots where people's cars have been surrounded by people and they start shaking the car back and forth or breaking the windows and jumping up and down on the car. And the person in the car, because there's people in front of them, ends up getting pulled out of the car and beaten or whatever because they're afraid to drive and run over those people in front of them. So you should plan your route out and avoid downtown. You should plan what time you're going to do this if you decide to do it. Traveling by the cover of darkness might be a good thing. Just depends on where you're going and what time, what things are happening in your city. There's been so many protests where they have actually said, groups like Antifa and BLM have actually said, we're going to this specific town next. And they actually do. Well, if you know they're coming to your town, then plan around that. Don't wait till they get there. But if they are going to be there, then you need to figure out how you're going to avoid all of that and what time to leave is best. Keep those things in mind. I think it's important that when you do that, especially if you're on foot, you need food, obviously. You would have your bug out bags, I'm assuming. I would, again, caution you to not have bug out bags that look like, unfortunately, like mine, my first one that I have. I have a couple, but my first one was a 72-hour pack, but it was a military style bag. Okay? Don't do that. Get a book bag of some kind of bag that doesn't scream that you're bugging out and you have tons of gear on you. You don't want to draw attention to yourself at all if you're going to be on foot going through the city. Avoid that as much as possible. Have a normal looking bag. You want to blend in. You want to look like everybody else. You don't want something on all camo gear or something standing out like a sore thumb. You want to blend in. So think about what you're wearing, what time of the year it is, obviously, where you're going, what you're carrying with you, and how you can be, I don't know what word to use, be discreet as possible so that people are not looking at you when you're walking down the street. Okay? Something you may want to consider. If you have your bag, you're going to have food. You should have some medical supplies. Obviously, you're going to have extra clothing. Just a ton of stuff. Some kind of sleeping bag or something you can sleep in, some type of shelter you can make if you have a small tent that you can open up, different things in your bag. One of the things you might want to get for your bag, instead of necessarily carrying a lot of water on you, because water is heavy, it makes your canteen slosh a lot. If you're carrying a water bottle, of course, that can get heavy and bouncing around while you're walking and stuff, that's fine. But you may want to consider, if you're traveling on foot through the city, buying a silcock-key. You can get one on Amazon for $4. Buy one for yourself and each one of your family members. Have them put it in their bag. A silcock-key allows you to pass buildings that have a water spigot on the side of their building. They're all over the city. But as you've seen them before, you know they don't have a handle so you can turn on the water, because they don't want people just going by and turning on their water and walking away, or, whatever. Well, the silcock-key has 4 different size keys on it. It handles the 4 standard type spigots. With those keys, you can put it on, get your water, shut it off, and then be on your way. Okay? That would really help you when it comes to obtaining water in the city, because many buildings in cities have a water spigot on the side or the back of their building. But like I said, they always use a key so that people can't just turn on their water. Something to consider. $4, very cheap. What else? Self-defense. You need self-defense tools on you. We've talked about that before. Good idea, obviously, to carry. Have yourself a handgun, a concealed carry, if you can, permit. Or if you're in a state with constitutional carry, you can just carry and you don't have to worry about it. But you need some form of protection. So my suggestions are, number one, a handgun. Number 2, if you don't want to carry a gun, carry something like the fast strike that I carry. I've shown that in previous videos. You can carry a fast strike. You can carry pepper spray. You can carry wasp and hornet spray. That stuff shoots a straight stream for about 20 feet. It'll do the same damage to somebody's eyes. It's going to burn their face and eyes just like pepper spray would. It's less lethal, okay? I'm not saying that they might not go blind or they may have some kind of major problems. They might, but they'll still be alive. I think less lethal needs to come first, if at all possible. You can carry a taser. A lot of states allow tasers. Ours does. You can carry a stun gun. Those are allowed in a lot of states as well. Obviously, you can carry a knife. You can carry a flashlight with a crenulated bezel. Those are everywhere. I'll show this. I've shown it many times, but as an example, and I have several lights that have different types of crenulated bezels on them, but I'll show you this one. Okay, this one here, I've shown you before, looks like a regular flashlight, pretty much. I mean, obviously, it's a pretty beefy flashlight. It's more or less military grade. This was made by Pentagon Lights, but on the front of this, you can spin it like so, and then you have this on the top. Okay, I've shown this before. Hopefully my camera will stay in focus. This is made to hurt, okay? Just flat out. They're only made to instill pain. There's no other reason for them. Okay, some people call them interrogation bezels. They hurt and they will cut you. They are perfect for self-defense. This kind, you can roll the sleeve back up on it and you don't get stuck. Nobody using it's going to get stuck or cut on the edge of it. Okay, there's different kinds. You can look those up. Just don't get those flashlights that are kind of, smooth in their bezel. Don't do that. Buy something that's very pointy, sharp, that will inflict pain if you have to use the light for self-defense. Okay, so that's a few different things right there. Situational awareness. That's obvious. Don't be walking around with your face looking down at your phone. We've talked about this in many videos. If you have to travel through the city on foot, the last thing you want to be doing is looking at your phone. Now, maybe everybody else is doing that, but you shouldn't, because you need to know what's going on around you. You need to be aware of your surroundings, and you can't do that if you're sitting here like this the whole time while you're walking. How many stupid videos we see people fall in fountains and off of curbs and everything else, almost get hit by cars because their nose is in their phone. If you're on foot and you're bugging out and it's a shift situation, don't have your phone in your hands. Be very aware of what's going on. Like I said, you want to blend in as much as possible, the gray man thing. Try not to do anything to draw attention to yourself. You don't want to do that. It's very important that you don't do that. Don't walk around. Also, this is my opinion, don't walk around with headphones on. You can't hear what's going on around you if you have music going on and you have headphones plugged in your ears. If you really feel you have to do that, leave one out and leave one in. Have one of the headphone deals in one ear and leave the other one open so you can hear what's going on around you. Okay? Very, very important. Things can spark up just like that. We see it in videos now all the time in the city. From BLM, Antifa, and other people that want to cause issues. It just sparks up really fast. So you want to avoid areas where there's really heavy amount of people, a lot of foot traffic. Try to avoid that. That's where planning your route out in advance comes in handy. Deciding what time of the day you're going to travel. Again, very important. Okay. Now, lastly, avoid protests, avoid riots. You don't need to be there. You're just putting yourself or your family in harm's way. Just don't do it. If you're a single individual and you have someone that's willing to travel with you, a friend who may be bugging out or something, have someone travel with you. Try not to travel alone if you can avoid it. But again, you have to do whatever you have to do. Those are just, 5 little things that they sound like it's really common sense, but when people are stressed out, if they're freaking out because things are just going crazy, they're not going to think straight. They're going to be in panic mode. Try not to let that happen. Take a breath, step back, plan. The best thing to do is plan now before there's a problem. Okay? All right, that's it. You guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay alert. Hopefully stay healthy, and we'll talk to you again soon.